Welcome to Worlds Collide, the wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. Here we are, once again, ready to talk wrestling. Going to wrestling.
Wrestling.
Welcome to Worlds Collide. I got it right that time. Ding, ding, ding.
You sure did. Yeah, this time you did.
Starting off with a good news. What is top of mind for you in the wrestling card space?
For me, wrestling card space. Well, I've been kind of really focused on my personal collection of Kurt Angle cards right now.
I told you. I told you. Start that player collecting. It never ends.
I'm really enjoying it. I just picked up those 2013 Impact TNA Impact Glory cards. I just came in the mail as my latest buy. I got a gold and a blue numbered, autographed matte cards, numbered to 50. Got 50 of 50, and I got number 10 to 10, number 1 of 10. And I'm like, okay, I'm tapping out right now because I can't be doing more. And of course, just before we came on tonight,
trying to get more.
Here I am, I'm bidding on a Transcendent autograph. It's fun. I'm having fun.
Real quick, since we're talking about that, something I've kind of, I guess, changed my mind on as far as like those matte cards. We've constantly joked about how people have enough of these matte cards to build an actual ring with.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them, like the one you have, of course it's autographed, but it actually has the date, the event, and all of that on there. So it's a cool piece. So I think maybe that's something people could look at, start collecting as like, major events, having the matte relic. Now, a lot of these other relics with the black t-shirt that you can't, tell what's on it or whatever, those are still junk, I think. But I think these matte cards could start maybe getting a little bit more popular for some of the events.
I think certain matte cards, you're right. You go back to the Fleer releases and you have like Aggression and things like that. Even like the Raw's War release, all of them had, matte relics of some kind. There's just nothing really special about them. And then even if they did tell you where they came from, and it's a small little tiny square, they put on there. The only cool one that I remember from Fleer was the All Access, where they had to call it off the mat graph autographs. Mm-hmm. And some of the talent actually took that to heart. Like they signed off the mat. They signed on the top of the card. So very few actually signed on the actual ring mat. But when TriStar did the ones for TNA, I just talked to Chuckster about that release too, especially that 2013 TNA Impact. They put out some really beautiful looking cards, and those, very large swatches, very large ring mats, very large. I mean, just really nice. I kind of regret not really being into them at the time because they're really nice looking.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was with a lot of the TNA cards. I'd buy like a blaster box and just like, okay, I'm done, moving on to the next thing. And times have changed. And speaking of that, today we're going to be just briefly talking about some of the upcoming WWE Topps releases. Just wrestling card market stuff, a little bit of NFT talk, just kind of variety show, so to speak. So let's get started with the new product releases. I'll run through them real quick. Women's division should be out, actually, at the time of this recording. Heritage, which a lot of people I know are really like hyping up because it's got the 1990 Topps baseball design.
I love that.
And it's also got the 87 Topps WWF throwback design, too. So that's like it's a double-edged kind of throwback into one set. We've got Chrome in June. I should have said the Heritage comes out in October. Chrome is in June. Finest in December. Return of Finest, which is only the second time WWE is going to do Topps Finest, which is still kind of a big deal. Transcendent, which we got a lot to talk about on that, in July. And then Undisputed in September. So let's just run through real quick. Got any thoughts on women's division that should be coming out here pretty sure?
I'm sure it's going to be very popular. I've never collected them before, but designs look cool. I mean, I'm interested in seeing people's box breaks. For me personally, as a collector, I'm not looking to get into them. I'm more into waiting for the Heritage stuff.
Let's talk about Heritage. I know you're go for it.
Beautiful. I think it's fun. That 90 Topps baseball set. I just got rid of that factory set. That's got like Griffey in it, and I think Robin Ventura. I think
Frank
card number
Thomas.
1, Frank Thomas in that. I think card number 1, if I'm not mistaken, was like Jim Abbott. I just dropped it off my local card shop, because he hooks me up with some wrestling stuff. I give him some sports stuff when I find things in storage or my closet, whatever. And I just gave it to him, and then all of a sudden I saw the announcement for Heritage being from the 90 Topps, and I go, "This is awesome. These look cool. Like, I would have kept that set if it was just wrestling, but I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait."
Yeah,
it's actually going to be probably the first case that I'm going to end up buying of wrestling cards since probably something 04 like Divine Divas and 04 from Fleer or something.
You think is this, and there's no right or wrong answer to this, I'm just curious, is it the design that's hooked you, or are you going to wait and see that? Okay, so you don't care about the checklist necessarily?
I don't care about the checklist. I don't care about what's really in it. I just think from a fun, nostalgic purpose, I think it's kind of fun looking. I like that design. It kind of takes me back to a time, and I just will have fun opening it and then selling off whatever I don't want and keeping things that I may be interested in.
Well, you just hit on something I think is kind of cool. I think a lot of times people, they only want to see what's in the checklist because they only want certain cards of certain people. But here you are, like, it's the art of the card that's drawn you in, which I think is cool.
Yeah, it's if it had been anything else heritage wise, I guess I shouldn't say anything else. Depending on what it was, they're trying to throw back to. But when I saw the design, I go, that's cool. I remember that. It's like, that's the height of like when I was getting into I was kind of dabbling in a lot of different sports at the time too. I was getting into like the 89 Upper Decks, because I was a big Griffey fanatic at the time, like everybody else. And so I was getting into other things and like, okay, Frank Thomas stuff, why not? And so it just takes me back to a time, the design takes me back to a time of when I was actively collecting a lot of different things, but it's also wrestling related, which is my passion and what I love. So
right. Good combination there. And speaking of combinations, move on to two other, they're different, but they're similar. And they're some of the most popular stuff in sports. And that's Chrome, which, like I said, in June, and Finest, which I'm very excited about. I know me and you and pretty much everybody else in the wrestling card hobby loved both of these last year. So what do you think about? Do you have any? Have you seen some of the mock-up pictures of this year's that are coming out?
I think I've maybe seen one for the Finest, but I haven't seen the one for the Chrome, I don't think, or maybe vice versa. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I think they look just as good as last year. The only thing I will say is, myself included, a lot of people have pulled a lot of the stuff out of Finest, and they had a lot of defects on them as far as like defects in the print lines, scratches, scuffs, stuff like that. Not so much with Chrome, but Finest, like, hopefully they can clean that up. But
is that typical throughout? Is that typical throughout Topps's other Finest products, like in Star Wars, like that? Do they have printing issues like that? I just can't remember when I used to collect Star Wars cards back in the day with that Star Wars Finest. Maybe I kind of do. I remember seeing like little dimples on my cards once in a while from printing problems, maybe.
Yeah, but like it's weird because like the Topps Chrome baseball is like from what I've seen and heard, it's some of the easiest stuff to get PSA 10s on. So it seems like it's a similar technology between the two, shiny chromium kind of stuff. But there's just something different about the Finest that isn't grading and constantly having.
I don't know what the printing process on that is. I wonder what the printing process is on that.
Let's move on.
That makes it different.
Transcendent. We got a lot to say about this one.
Before we get to Transcendent, I'll just go to Undisputed. No, we'll talk about Transcendent. Obviously that's for the big boys, obviously, who want to collect that stuff. But I know we talked briefly about it's just, if you're looking at it from an investment standpoint to buy, it's like that. You're just, unless you hit some ungodly box, you're just not going to make your money back on that. I just don't see it.
Yeah, that's the whole problem is I can't think of too many other products out right now where even if you had like a mediocre pull that was the hit or whatever, you could probably make your money back. But with this, there's just I don't even know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. The product looks cool, just like all the other Transcendent products.
It does.
I think they're great, but I will be one to pick and choose what I want on the secondary market.
And I think that's exactly what the point you just made right there. I think Transcendent is the ultimate release for people's personal collection of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's the ultimate piece for that. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to go out and get a complete sets like that. It's crappy for the person who is a base card set collector, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But if you're just looking for pieces, it's a really cool piece. Like, hey, let somebody else spend the 13 grand to open up a box. I'll be happy to go and pick up a card here, here for myself.
Yeah, and I think
for me, I doubt they're going to put a Kurt Angle card in there.
You never know. Like they've put. Was it last year before, they had Ultimate Warrior in there, and I'm like, why? Like they just put him in there. I didn't expect that. They had The Rock in there. Didn't expect that. So True. You never know. Any of those guys that have Legends deals, I guess. But I think maybe your only chance on this, if you just really want to be a participant in it, is to buy in on a break if you can find one, and because then you're talking probably a couple $100. I would say maybe like $200 to $400. Possibly, depending on how the break is. So for $200 to $400, depending on what you pull, you may be able to recoup a little bit. That's about your best shot at it. I
saw somebody on Twitter recently ask, or was it the Discord group where someone asked what a buy-in was in last year's Transcendent, and I didn't see it being that high. I thought somebody mentioned a lot lower, but that makes more sense to me, like $200. But
I just kind of picked that number out of my head, just quick math. If you had I don't know what the exact amount of cards in there is. And then I think like maybe they give, I don't know. It just depends on the breaker, like how they're going to break things up, how they do the break. There's a lot of different things that go into that, but enough of that. Let's move on to the last one, Undisputed in September. You've seen the previous Undisputed sets. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, I mean, I bought the two last Undisputed sets. That's my first boxes I bought in years before I bought Chrome and then Finest. And I was pleasantly, I was happy with what I pulled out of the product. I thought the cards, I like that thick stock they use. But then, it's like, again, it's hard to make your money back on that stuff at those box prices unless you hit those big, the big cards.
And those just seem few and far between. It's goes back to that, the thing we talk about almost every time is like the value of wrestling, the popularity of wrestling, because any other sport you could, get a mediocre card and actually make money. But with wrestling, like you hit that Charlotte auto relic, right?
Yep.
Out of that. And like, to me, that's a huge card, but I'm just guessing $50 to $100 probably on the value on that. Raw.
I sent it in for grading, and when I did my evaluation on it for value, so I think, yeah, you're right in that price range. Yeah. I was actually surprised that card, it was that card got a little bit higher value than the one-of-one printing plate I pulled of Carmella. And that one-of-one was all, it was trading. it was, comps on it were like, in the $25 to $45 range.
Yeah. So you're pulling one-of-ones and you're, $20 to $30, $40. Like,
yeah,
come on. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know.
I don't get it. So, I'm not going to, unless, my card shop and I work out some kind of a deal where they want to do a box break for them on their behalf like that. I don't see myself buying a box of that.
No. And I'm actually and we'll get into a perfect segue actually to talk about market here in a second, but I'm slowly kind of coming around to the idea of buying into breaks more, because even just like retail blasters, I'm just now starting to have a harder time finding that kind of stuff, because I'm sure everybody's seen a lot of these retailers are just either not getting cards anymore, or they're just flat out not going to carry them because it's just not worth it on their end. So.
Yeah, Target's only going to be online now, I heard.
Yeah. So get your bots ready. All those online releases seem to be eaten up by the bots, but I'll let the bots fight it out.
Hopefully that these people, yeah, let them fight. Yeah. Less blood.
So let's talk about the market. We kind of talked about, the values of not being able to get the amount out of Undisputed to kind of pay for the box. So there's clearly a market out there driving wrestling cards. Me and you, Gary, everybody, eBay, everybody's talked about the increase in wrestling cards. So, but then you talk about stuff like that, and when you and I keep bouncing, especially you keep bouncing videos at me because you do a lot more research on that than I ever do. Of like, hey, look, check it out, man. Check out the 8-minute mark. Check this out. It's like they briefly talk about wrestling, like, okay, wow, someone's gonna get some recognition to wrestling now, it's awesome, and then go right into like F1 or into something else and back into basketball or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I'm buying up wrestling because I think it's undervalued,
But let me talk about this Zion, card. It's like, come on. I mean, you're an influencer in some degree talking about cards. Why don't you spend some time talking about wrestling and really give it what it deserves? I don't know. It's going to get me angry. I don't want to get angry about it.
It makes no sense to me, and I continually say why. I don't understand it. But at the same time, it's still giving me, you, everybody else that's into the cards a buying opportunity. Like, we're still able to get some of the best card. Like, I don't care if you want to talk a lot. Like, I hear a lot of people say, and it's interesting. They'll say, "Oh, I'm priced out of 82 All-Stars." Okay, well, if you go look at them, let's say you get like a mid to low grade, you're talking a couple $1,000s. A couple $1,000s in Pokemon or sports card world won't get you hardly anything. So there's still so many buying opportunities.
Did you happen to hear my speaking of the values of the All-Stars? You happen to hear my talk with Paul from Price Guide?
Yes, unbelievable stats.
I mean, when you start comparing that WCW autograph set to the All-Stars, it's like it's not even comparable. Strictly raw, obviously. When you start grading things, we start putting things in a whole different ball game. But strictly raw cards from each release, so it's not even comparable.
But Tony, those aren't rookie cards.
Who cares? They're autograph cards. I mean, it's what the market demands, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not a card; it's a sticker. I don't care. The market's dictating that.
Yep. Yeah, so let's talk about raw prices. We just witnessed those. Something I've seen, and it seems like all cards in general, the entire hobby is kind of on a dip. But certain wrestling cards are higher than they've ever been, from what I'm looking at. And the raw prices, though, like just before we got on here, I was able to find several tops 85 complete sets had both Hogans in it. $150. 2-3 months ago, you couldn't touch a raw copy of that card for $150. It was even halfway decent. So I'm seeing a lot of that. The Steve Austin 95 main event cards, those have gone down a little bit. Just it's really interesting. But the modern cards, that's where
these are all raw cards, not graded, correct?
All raw cards. Yep.
Okay. What would you say percentage wise you're seeing the dip? 25%, 30%?
It depends on the cards, probably. But like I said, the Hogans, we had that. You remember when we had that run there where those 85 Hogans just like went crazy?
Yeah.
At that point, I couldn't even find a decent copied raw one, that wasn't like chewed up or bent in half. You couldn't find one for under $200. But now all of a sudden you can find the complete set with both of them in it for $100 to $200. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm wondering if like the PSA shutdown has caused things. Starting to see a lot of these cards popping up in other slabs, HGA, SGC, BGS, and a lot of people are like, I'm seeing the same type of people trying to sell the same kind of stuff over and over again. So I'm wondering, like, are they over leveraged? So they're trying to get out of them to kind of recoup some cost, and nobody wants them because they're not PSA slabs, unfortunately. I don't know. That's just kind of some stuff I'm seeing out there and thinking about.
I haven't really been looking at those kind of cards. I've been looking more at a little bit later cards, when it comes to raw pricing. So I saw some people talking about 98 Rey Mysterios from WCW, or especially those WCW releases, So basically, right around 2000, pre-2000 releases, or late 90s stuff. I'm not really talking about comic images.
On the WCW ones, you think that's potentially piggybacking off those autographs?
I think so. I think so. But there's also, I think it's an untapped, those are 3 untapped releases that people don't really pay a lot of attention outside of the autographs.
Right.
They don't go after like, oh, there was, some cool promo cards. There were some cool chrome cards and the stuff like that, especially that first series 1 set had those 10 chrome cards in it that were like just cool headshots, the chrome version, and then the retail version had the sticker versions of it. And then you had the Nitro release had the pay-per-view chromes, and then the retail version was the sticker version of that. And then you go to Emboss, which had no retail version of stickers and stuff like that. It was just the 5 double-sided chrome cards, which I think are really cool looking cards. But you start getting stuff like, Jericho's in there in his first, like, real widely released, North American stuff, not from,
the
south of the border.
93 tops, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're going to have, like, Goldberg. You're going to have Mysterio. You're going to have – there's a lot of cool things that are in those releases that For a little bit there, I was seeing like Mysterio's getting in the $40 to $50 range for a raw card.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing them in the $10 to $15 range.
And that's a perfect segue to the other thing that I had noted is the raw. I mean, again, we're talking raw here.
Yeah.
The common stuff like base cards and what you're just talking about. I mean, that Rey Mysterio is a base card. The Hogan's I was talking about, base card. The one thing that is going nowhere but up and just keeps going up is rare, scarce, raw, hard to find, numbered parallels. Those things either are maintained what I've seen them at, or they've gone even further. And prime example is that Hogan PMG that we've now seen. There's two that have sold 15, like right around 1,500. The other one is below that. And there's another one up right now, as of the time it's recording. Buy it now, 1,500 in PS. Or no, it's raw actually.
It's raw.
So that's that's something I've been preaching for a while now.
You've always been saying that, even with the modern stuff, if you've got a legend that's in a modern product that's in some sort of a chase or some sort of extended set, or even part of the base set, if it has a parallel version, especially that parallel is numbered, it's like, listen, there's only 99 of this green one, and there's only 50 of the blue one. There's only, I mean, those are worth going after. And I'm learning that. I'm learning that with my Kurt Angle stuff. Like, I'm not interested in, I've gotten some things from the old Fleer stuff, which is, those are great. I like them. They're cool stuff. Like, the tough guys. I love that shirt, and, the championship, from WrestleMania 21. I love those things. They're not numbered. There's nothing really scarce about them other than the fact that it's it's like a one per box type of deal thing back in the day, but I'm more interested in all, like, I'm really like loving the undisputed, stuff. I love that card stock, and, they're numbered, they're serial numbered. I'm after that stuff.
Yep. That's where I've been too. I mean, there's certain
and it seems to be holding value.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not the only one either. There's a lot of other people out there in the hobby talking about, just the same kind of stuff. Like, if you want to sustain dips and market crashes, which I don't really care. Like, I'm not looking to sell a lot of the stuff I have anyway. That rare, scarce stuff is only just going to keep going up.
Yeah. I agree. And so it's when I'm kind of looking at my personal collection, I'm looking for things that I know long-term, I don't have to worry about it going up and down. One first off, because it's my personal collection. I love it. I don't give a shit about it anyways. I'm going to keep it anyways. But if it has value, and if someday I wanted to get rid of it, or after I'm gone and my kid wants to, I think because it's more scarce, because it's numbered. It's not just a base card. It's a parallel version that's numbered.
And speaking of base cards, you mentioned the Carmella. We're talking about a 1-of-1 that is still not worth very much. We don't know what the future of that holds, but it's a modern performer. And let's talk into modern. I have seen a lot of people I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's a lot of new people coming in. I don't know if it's existing collectors that are, getting, I'll use the word, priced out of vintage, or maybe just looking for something new to chase. I'm not sure, but I've seen a lot of, because there's some stuff I've been looking at that I've had to compete with some people on in bids, or I got bid out or whatever. But it seems like those are getting more popular. What do you think?
For more modern pieces? Yeah. I don't know. Are people speculating now on certain stars or something? You think that people are kind of getting more into, like...
I think so.
I think so too. I think people are kind of taking some tips. There's a lot of, we've talked about before in the past, of there's a lot more social media content about talking about this hobby now, whether it be YouTube channels or just podcasts like ourselves, whatever. So there's more out there. And I think we're kind of like, okay, I'm going to take this point over here from Zan, because Zan's the man over here, and take some stuff over here from this guy from, Card Foundation, because, they're on the ball. I mean, they're taking information from everybody and kind of going, all right, maybe they're learning, they're speculating, like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm a big fan of Murphy, or maybe I'm a big fan of, whoever. It's like that. They're getting into it. And like, I think it's long-term, it's good. I don't care. I think it's good for the hobby.
Yeah, same. I mean, it just makes sense, and it's exciting. Like Roman Reigns, for example, he's been a top guy now for several years. He doesn't need to be priced where he's at, like paralleled to other sports. Like, look at the top guys in other sports.
Yeah.
It's wrestling. I understand it's not going to be priced.
Yeah, but you could virtually like just give some, like, hey, I'll give you some empty Coke cans for that. Okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of us were doing on the legends
Sure.
5 and 10 years ago. So maybe people are just now catching up, and maybe those people are priced out on some of the vintage all-star stuff, or maybe they're the ones that just don't have any interest in vintage stuff, which is cool too. Like, not everybody has to like what the rest of us like.
Yeah. Do you think it's more of a crowd of people now who are active watchers of the new product as opposed to being people who are?
Fingers crossed. Like, when's the last time you actually sat down and watched a full show?
I don't have TV, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, that shows you how important the modern product is to you.
I'd rather watch a Vice episode of some
Exactly. So it's hard for me to sit through, but I think a lot of people, if they're into more of the modern stuff, whether AEW is a whole nother thing, but it gives them a reason to watch. Rooting interest. Impact is coming out with trading cards now, so maybe that's gonna make people, I've got the cards of these guys, I want to go watch them.
And AEW is very popular, and I'm wondering if when that product comes out, will we see collectors gravitate towards that who maybe aren't into so much in wrestling, but it's like, you know what, it's a new product, first time, new company, I'm wondering if people are going to jump into that right away that aren't typical wrestling fans.
Good point. And I just now thought, like, they're on TNT, which the NBA is on. The NBA is usually on like after or before or whatever. And that'd be cool to kind of lead some basketball guys kind of down the rabbit hole of wrestling, because about like people have either gotten tired of basketball or they're priced out, and there's like, maybe I'm looking for something new. Oh, here's this AEW thing. Shaq was on there within the years, so
you got Tyson on there.
Yeah. So that's a good point you brought up.
I'm curious. I think that maybe when AEW product releases, maybe it'll give a nice little shot in the arm to some credibility to the hobbies like that from people that normally wouldn't talk or even invest in wrestling cards.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I can tell you, if Panini gets that, you can forget about it. Like, it's going to be nuts. Like, look at
nuts in a positive way or a crazy? I mean, a bad way.
Oh, price wise, like, look at Prism UFC. Like,
I know.
That's all you got to say. Like,
my local card shop still has 2 boxes.
Yeah, and how much are the hobby boxes, right?
Yeah, $1,400 a box is what he's asking for.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our last section, and that is NFTs and digital. This will be kind of interesting. We haven't touched on this in a week or two on here. So where's your stance on that? Have you changed at all? Because I sure have.
No, I sure haven't. I'm waiting for the next. I'm more for the NFT side. I'm more into what they did for Undertaker during WrestleMania. I like that stuff.
Me too.
I'm not getting into the baseball stuff. I heard it was really chaotic in the beginning, but values are really high. People are making good money off that stuff. That's great, but it has zero interest to me. If it was wrestling related, I'd be all over it and 100% into wanting to invest in it. However, that being said, as I'm prepping myself and have been since for a while by learning digital market, because I am so addicted to WWE Slam 21.
It's a great platform.
It really is. It's super easy to use. I'm on it every single day, multiple times a day when I'm just trying to kill time. I was like, hey, I got too many of tier 1. I'm going to craft those 2 cards and something from tier 2. I'm like, just if you had told me whenever many months ago it was when I had Adam Gilman on, like that, I would have told you you're crazy. I would never be into this. It's not something I'm interested in. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And now here I am. It's like I do it daily now. Like I'm constantly saving my coins. I even paid for to buy a specific Rock commemorative card on his birthday. Just I spent like $4, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm
into
it.
Tried selling any yet?
I just recently started thinking about that, going, what can I do with all? I have like 600 of these particular cards right now in my this one tier. How can I get rid of these cards? I don't know. I'm sure how to do it yet. I don't know how you transfer ownership from one to someone else.
You would get their username when they pay on, like, so they buy it on eBay and they will include their username. You find their username on the app and you do a trade with them. Like, you give them whatever they bought and they give you like a crappy base card.
Oh, okay.
So do the trade.
Oh, I like that.
It works really well. Like, I sold off uh, probably 2-3 years ago. No, maybe, I don't know. It was when I was on Topps Bunt. I was on the NFL when they had the rights to that. I was on UFC, Star Wars, WWE. I want to say there was another one, Marvel, maybe. I don't know. At one point, I was doing all of them, and I like as soon as I get stuff on, I just start selling it on eBay. That's eventually how I got my account banned. So my Topps account.
Oh, so Topps banned your account. Oh, okay. I wonder if, but WWE doesn't seem to be doing that. I mean, I see it's so much of it on eBay already as it is. People are selling some.
People
I don't
do it
get
all
it.
the time. I think I was just like some weird exception because I contacted them. I wasn't able to log in, and it says you've violated terms and services. So I contacted them, and that's the response I got was that I was selling the things, and you're not supposed to. Apparently, it violates your terms and services. So they probably just picked me out of the blue. There's tons of people selling them, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're just a random person. Okay. Well, you're driving the
I
red
guess.
car. It's going fast.
Yeah, exactly. That's
But I'm as far as NFTs go, I'm looking forward to more wrestling related things. I really hope that the digital side of it from WWE Digital kind of maybe converts to that, maybe, or kind of. I think it's a cool app that could easily play into that, and I would think they would go that way, but Topps didn't do that with their baseball apparently, and
yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
but maybe WWE will do something different. I don't know. I
They could
wonder
do
how
their
that.
own.
Yeah, because I wonder how that affects their licensing agreement with Topps, though.
Yeah.
And because if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the Topps logo on all those cards too, right? For digital.
Yes, but I'm wondering. You brought up another good point, like what they did with the Undertaker NFT. Like, why can't they do that exact same thing and just turn it into cards?
True. And I'm looking at my account right now. Yes, through the WWE app, all the cards are Topps logo branded like that. So I'm
Right.
sure it's probably something to do with Topps themselves. And if they want to go to convert their digital to NFT type stuff, I would imagine it probably has to go the same route that they were doing their baseball stuff, which would be disappointing to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I agree. They should do their own thing. Why not? I mean, they did Undertaker. Hey, if they did it annually just for WrestleMania weekend only, where they had some kind of big NFT thing every WrestleMania, I'd be all over that. I'd be into it.
Same.
If they'd say, hey, it's a success. Let's do it for our big four. We'll do it for SummerSlam and Survivor Series and each one. I'd be all that. Hell, I'd be doing it if they did it for every pay-per-view. I can pick and choose what I want to get into. And it's like that. What can I can afford?
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
I just think I haven't looked at it. I have no idea. Have you looked into what our initial investment is worth these days for that Undertaker one?
I followed it for about a month. Every week I would check it. And the last time I looked, it was still the cheapest you could get into it was double what we paid. So yeah, I mean, I'm in no hurry to get rid of it.
I'm in no hurry because to me it's kind of like just throwing my money in. I'm going to throw my money a couple $100 into Apple stock. Back in the day, I'm going to throw and just let it sit and just let it go.
But the cool thing about this is, like, if I go look at my Apple stock, I'm just looking at a ticker. If I look at this awesome Undertaker NFT, I'm getting the cool animation.
I get the cool thing. Yeah,
this is cool every time. It never gets old.
It never gets old. I really, really, God, I really wish we would have gotten to that silver. That card.
Yeah.
God, that's a badass looking card. I love that card.
That one's gone up too. So
I hope they do something more in the future with those things. I like them. I don't know. And you start doing digital stuff and you start talking about fractional sharing, things like that. I'm still all over the collectible app. I do stuff, but I'm kind of across the board, and I'm not just wrestling on that because they don't have a whole lot of wrestling on that app. So I did the All-Stars. I did the Andre Jockstrap. I'm still going to laugh about it. But I think recently I just did what did I just do recently on that? I did something trading card wise. I think it was a couple of something or other. But I enjoy that because it's something different for me. It's my little thing I go to doing different. I think I did the Tyson card. I did Tyson. I bought the Tyson stuff. I bought multiple shares of that.
Well, it's interesting how we've almost done a U-turn. Like, you were so all in, and I'm actually going the other direction now.
Why are you getting out?
I'm not getting out. I'm just kind of stepping to the sidelines for now. Several reasons. I think the biggest reason is platforms and infrastructure. Like, everybody is coming out with these. You've got, Gary Vee doing his thing over here, which
Sure.
that seems to have flopped temporarily. Like who knows what it's going to do in the future. You had WWE doing their thing over here, Topps doing their thing over here. Like everybody can do their own thing, so it's like you're almost spread too thin. But the problem is each one of them seems to be on a different platform, so you have to get this money converted to this, which you can only use here. But if you get it out, you can only use that over here. You can't actually get the cash back, and like it's just too confusing. And I don't want to mess with it. Like,
do you think there's going to come a time where they're going to make it where we have all these different types of cryptocurrencies that you can pretty much say, I can easily move my money around in an app?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it will get there. And I'm still a huge believer in NFTs. Like, I think they're legitimate collectibles. The other things that people want to say is like, well, they need utility behind them. Kind of like the Undertaker thing came with the urn or the belt plates that were signed, whatever. But like, I was listening to some of the stuff that like Gary had on his VeeFriends. It's like, oh, you get to come meet me, and you get to like, I'm into these things more as a collectible. Like, I don't think NFTs need utility.
There's all different types of NFTs. I would kind of maybe a little disagree on that one too. I think that some do need that to kind of make it, because if you are on the collectible side, you want to retain something of, almost a collectible version, as opposed to like, well, I don't want to just meet Zan. I want to actually have a trading card of Zan, or something like that. That's my thing. So I think that WWE did it right with the Undertaker thing. I like that a lot because it's a collectible for me. And I don't know. It's like going across anything else. In the hobby, we have all different kinds. I'm not into F1 racing. I don't give a rat's ass about it. I don't care. Either. So why would I invest my money in it? So if there was an NFT that's over here that I don't care about, I'm not going to invest my money in it. I don't care. I'm not interested in it.
Right.
Good for you. You're making money. If WWE stuff, I'll be all of it. If they did an AEW one, I would buy into it.
Good call.
If they did anything, if
if the AEW cards are actually going to be digital cards, that'd be interesting.
I'd be in it. I'd be all over it. I would be all over it just because I think it's fun. I mean, I've gotten to the point now. Again, I can't believe I'm saying this stuff. I got to the point now where it's like, I don't have to worry about the condition of my car. It's always in mint. I don't have to worry about storing it. I don't have to worry about having it shipped. It's always there right for me, right there on my phone or on my laptop, whatever I want.
Yep.
Always. That has, over time now, since I had that conversation with Adam, has really become very appealing to me. And I think it's I really do. I think it's a big part of the future. I really do.
I agree, and I think it's not going to be an either or thing. I've said that before. It's both.
It's both. It's no different than music. No different than music.
No, but for music, I'll use this analogy. Like if everybody has different types of music, but they're all either streamed on the same platforms, or they're on a CD, they're on vinyl.
Correct.
We all use the same player to play those, and that's my biggest complaint right now. Is there's just like too many different platforms with different currencies, and it's just like.
I mean, I've got some monies in certain but in certain currencies out there that I open an account with them. I dumped $100 or something into it, and I go, oh, I don't need that, but now it's stuck over there, and I have to
exactly.
Now I'm waiting. It's like, that wasn't the platform I needed to buy this on. So now I've got $100 just sitting there doing me nothing really. That I need to either invest it in something someday, somewhere on something. So I don't know. It's early stages of the NFT world, and I'm happy to be on board with it. And as they continue to bring things out that are of interest to me, I'm happy to look at it.
Yeah, and real quick, one more thing actually is time. So it seems like, and I'm going to throw collectible and rally in with this. Like, okay, so we've got this cool thing you can invest in it, and this, whether it's NFT, fractional sharing, whatever. We've got this cool thing coming out. It's going to be dropping at this time. And then the drop's going to get delayed. And then maybe it's not. Well, I don't know about everybody else, but like, I don't have time to sit around and wait on this, even though I've got my phone. Like, I got too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, same. And like, whether I'm putting more emphasis into my own YouTube channel or this show, or like, just my own personal collection of cards, like, it's just much easier. And that's why I got into cards really heavy to begin with, because like, I love fantasy sports. Well, guess what? You have to do fantasy sports on the time the games are happening. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do that with cards and collectibles. And that's why I'm just still leaning towards, I'm having more fun with the actual physical cards in my hand. and just going through eBay than I am, okay, well, I got to worry about the drop time here. I've got to worry about the bots scooping this up after I've been in line for, X amount of hours on my phone. So I guess that still has to do with infrastructure.
Yeah. And I'm sure it'll get easier and better as time goes on.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be something that's going to pique my interest to begin with. Like if something I'm willing to devote my time to, again, Andre's jockstrap. I think it's just
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And I'm like, I'm not missing this. I'm scheduling it. So I'm going to be available that day. And I actually got really nervous that day. I will never forget that. I got nervous that day going, I hope I get this. I hope I get this. I don't want to miss out on this. I've been waiting for this day. And I'm like, oh, that was it. I bought my shares. That was easy peasy, man.
Now I get
that was
to
great.
Stare at the jockstrap all the time.
Yeah. All the time I want. Yeah. So it's just,
it's interesting too. People want to make fun of that. And we'll end the show with this. You can make fun of wrestling. You can make fun of Andre the Giant's jockstrap. But unlike other products on Collectible, Andre's jockstrap sold out pretty quick. They didn't have to raise the cap on it.
Nope. No, I don't think they didn't raise the cap at all. It sold out without having to raise the cap. It sold out its initial, because that first 15-minute window is like, here's what our limits are. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they raise the cap and you can spend more. Then they take the cap off after a certain time.
Right.
And I've noticed a lot more things on there are like, okay, we've raised the cap, or we've there's no cap now. It's like, oh, that's not selling very well.
Yeah. Or we got that Sandy Koufax. So
I think that took weeks.
So you're talking an Andre the Giant game used jockstrap versus a game used Sandy Koufax jersey, and Andre the Giant sells it out.
I mean, the price structure was much different too. I mean, $29,000, IP on that, as opposed to like $400 and something thousand on a Sandy Koufax. But still, it says something. It really does, and I'm happy to own a part of it.
I think we covered quite a bit of ground. You got anything else?
Sure. No, that's good, man. That's really good. It's nice to kind of do a little cover everything, kind of what's going on in the market right now.
It's the variety show.
The variety show. I like that.
Yeah, the Partridge Family. The new and updated Partridge Family. We need a bus.
As long as I'm not Danny.
I just want to have the bus like that. That's a cool.
You want the bus?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, so not that everybody doesn't need to know, but Jesus Christ, where can people find you?
Wrestling with Cards on YouTube, Zan Morning on almost every single social media account, including MySpace, AOL Instant Messenger, and probably AOL chat rooms. I'm still in there somewhere.
Yeah, can I find you on NetZero?
I don't know if that one's still running.
Okay,
possibly.
All right. Maybe Earthlink. I don't know.
Maybe.
CompuServe. Let's go way back.
There you go.
I had one for a long time. I had a CompuServe T-shirt from when I used to work at AOL.
Awesome.
But for me, everything's in WrestlingTradingCards.com. Everything. And just a quick little update for you. I don't know when this is going to air, but making a lot of progress on the back end for WTC stuff. Everything will be on WrestlingTradingCards.com. You want to find out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. It's all going to be on there. All the links will be right there. Hell, you're going to be able to watch the YouTube videos right there from the website if you want to.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's coming.
WTC is the best resource for wrestling cards, period. So if you guys haven't been there, make sure to keep checking. Actually, you can still access it, I believe, right?
You can go right now. You can go to WrestlingTradingCards.com. There's a temporary landing spot right there. It has a link to all the checklists that were there before. You can still go there. You can go to the Kevin Nash. Still a few Kevin Nash cards left if you want to help support the site. We still got a couple autograph cards left. It's all there. So just doing a lot of work on the back end, and I'm looking forward to hopefully the next month or two to actually have it relaunched.
Speaking of support, you mentioned it with the Kevin Nash cards, which you guys should definitely go buy those. Luckily, I got the 1 of 1. I love it. I love all those cards, like the card stock, the picture use. It's just everything's fantastic. So go pick up what you can of those if they're still out there at the time of this recording.
Hey, I made the price guide finally, so that's great.
Awesome. Yeah, and check that out too. The wrestling card price guide that Paul does. It's great.
It's the best information out there when it comes to getting an understanding of the value of your cards. He has spent a lot of time during the pandemic of updating the site to kind of reflect the current market. So it's like every price guide. It's not exact. So it's just like it's a guide to help you.
It's not designed to be exact.
Yeah, it's just to help you get an understanding of what your cards may be of value. It's all, of course, raw. They don't do any graded stuff on the site, but it's a great website to get the information with a lot of video stuff. Like, I mean, Paul has an unboxing collection, so you can actually look at his videos and check out what the card set looks like.
Thanks, guys, for listening. If this audio brought you some value, or this video brought you some value, which we got to get on that. That's on me. We got to start just posting these videos up too. Might as well.
Might as well. What does it hurt?
If you guys like all this stuff, hit the subscribe button. Share this all over social platforms. Make sure to tag us in it.
I'd like to hear from people too when they comment on this, or can reach out to us. Comment on our social media. Like what kind of things do people want to hear?
Absolutely,
talk about.
And I'm sure we can even arrange some people to possibly come on the shows, like roundtable over certain things would be fun. So yeah, just let us know what we suck at, what we're doing awesome at, what you guys want to hear about, just whatever. Just thanks for the support. And anything else?
Nope. Just thanks again, man.
Keep collecting wrestling cards.
That's right. Keep collecting them.
See ya.